Hi, this is IK. Welcome to What's Happening Behind the Scenes. What's happening behind the scenes? React.js, I think, to that. React application, what we create with the programs create React app. That React application there is inside Babel. Babel is tools what React application transform JSX code into regular JavaScript. What it means? It means that regular JavaScript at first was regular JavaScript. After that, coming JSX, like adding in React. And because of that, it is impossible to change all engine, JavaScript engine inside browser, inside every browser. It is less job if we have tools like Babel or TypeScript for transform that React application with JSX transform to regular JavaScript. It is first step what happened behind the scenes. Regular JavaScript, it is our React application in form of regular JavaScript. We call our React application with our browser and call it from server. Node server, for example. And it means that take care about our React, take care browser, web browser. And web browser, there is tools, there is a part of inside web browser, exists part, software, what take care about regular JavaScript. It is engine, and we call that virtual machine. Virtual machine means that engine or virtual machine can run, can compile our React application. Virtual machine is engine what can run running React programs. But browser, every browser, there is a different virtual machine. Chrome, there is a V8 JavaScript engine. And does virtual machine, does every owner of browser coding complete JavaScript virtual machine for yourself? Let's go to ask ChatGPT. Me, every owner of browser coding complete virtual machine only for yourself? No. Web browser vendors don't typically develop their own JavaScript virtual machine from scratch. Instead, most web browsers use existing open source JavaScript engines that have been developed by the broader software development community. These engines are then integrated into the browser and customized as needed to provide the desired features and performance characteristics. For example, Google Chrome uses the V8 JavaScript engine, which is an open source engine developed by Google that is also used in other applications such as Node, etc. This part. While browser vendors may contribute to the development of these JavaScript engines and provide their own customization, the majority of the work is done by the large software development community. This allows web browser vendors to benefit from the collective knowledge and expertise of the community while also providing standardized and interoperable environment for web. What is a virtual machine and why we need it? JavaScript is used in any type of computers, or straight to say processors, microprocessors or microcontroller. Microprocessors and microcontrollers, it is CPU. There is a CPU, and every CPU, every controllers, every type of controllers, every type of microprocessor, there is programs by what we program it. We call that assembly. Assembly is one-to-one program language, one-to-one with hardware. It means if you have we have a switch for our light in room. That switch can be processors, can be controller, can be microprocessor. And when we switch on, light is lighting, and the switch off, not lighting. And it is program, switch on, switch off, it is program. And if we have in some if we can more switches in different position, maybe we must switch more switches for some light in some room, etc. And that combination, what we must switch on of switches, it is one program, what we have in our hand when we buy some microcontroller. And it is assembly and programs what we create for that concretely processor is assembler. And how many programs we have? Assemblers as that assemblers. And that assembly and assemblers is direction, and it is rules how coding that processor. And it is different for serial processors. That assembler is different for different kind of microprocessors. And when we have high level language as Java and C++ or JavaScript, we must create programs for compiling our high language. Compiling means that high language compile to transmit in machine language. Assembly is machine language. But that assembly is different. It means that our high language, we must translate, compile from our textual, almost regular English language, transform in machine language, 1 and 0. And that process from top level of high level transmit and to write coding compiler to assembly. For every assembly it is big job, and because of that we create a virtual machine. It is virtual machine is creation of from high level language, high level JavaScript, to maybe 2/3 or as near as possible to assembler, that we that virtual machine means that every regular JavaScript application will run on that virtual machine, but will not touch hardware, because between virtual machine and hardware there is assembler, and it is different, and it is less job when we program, when compiling programmers coding only that differences from virtual machine to assembler, concretely assembler, then completely from high level language to every assembler. And because that virtual machine is compiling what is excellent, what is it is compiling JavaScript on every computers, on every processors possible, but cannot execute hardware, because there is no that part what understand assembler, what translate from finished virtual machine to different assembler. And because of that we have we have a virtual machine compatible to processors, to platforms, compatible. That compatibility means that exists virtual machine for concretely platform, for some microcontroller or microprocessor. There is a compatible virtual machine, what means that JavaScript can run on virtual machine, but there is that part of coding that our JavaScript program can regulate, manage processors, hardware, can process hardware, contact with hardware. Okay, and because of that, virtual machine is in biggest part the same in all browser, all kind of browser and all platforms. That virtual machine is equal, but every owner of browser can add some coding for his adaptation of other function, and in that part there is a difference between browser, but it is important. Virtual machine can execute, it is for runtime regular JavaScript, and virtual machine is the same for all platform, except that part from virtual machine to assembler, and that part is part of virtual machine, and we call compatible virtual machine. Virtual machine is on any compatible is on any platform. Compatible means that up or top on the layer of virtual machine, what is same for all, we have adding code for assembler. And of course, owners of browser can have all others addition like they want. Okay, we have now regular JavaScript, our React, running on virtual machine, running in our browser, and we look at that on the screen. Where is our virtual machine, JavaScript virtual machine? It is engine, JavaScript engine. Where it is? It is inside the browser. Look at here. It is inside the browser. Inside browser. Virtual machine is inside browser. And there is no API owned by virtual machine. All API, what was possible to access from engine, JavaScript engine, is owner is browser. Browser is closed, is limited virtual machine. On virtual machine, runtime, our regular JavaScript application, React application. And if that, our application can have directly access to operation system or directly to hardware, it means possibility to access our camera on phone or our microphone or anything of hardware, phone, it would be security very, very low. Very low, because we, creating application, decided what we want. But no, it is responsibility is on the browser. Browser, owner of browser, and browser give us possibility API for our JavaScript engine. And only through that API, JavaScript, API for engine, for JavaScript engine, virtual machine, our JavaScript, regular JavaScript React program can access something in operation system. For example, date, object date, JavaScript, there is object date, our React or JavaScript. And when we create that object in JavaScript, it means that is API, browser API for date, for take date, but from what? From operation system. It is not date from browser, but it is date of operation system. And through API of browser engine, JavaScript engine, and that object can have time, a local time of that computer, of that operation system. Again, JavaScript, there is an object date for date, time, second, but there is no content. To have content must be API in browser for that. And the API in browser is nothing but that API in browser for that, there is a API to operation system. And it is content, local time, day, calendar, all that, coming to object date in engine through API, operation system, API browser. Browser calling JavaScript. And at first browser create a document object model, and document object model is API, browser API to JavaScript engine. JavaScript engine have permission of browser. API is permission that you can pass through. And the document object model is one API of browser to a document object model. HTTP request, it is API of browser, and JavaScript engine and our regular JavaScript program, React, can use that API for HTTP activity. Also, XML HTTP object. Also, there is a API in browser to use that HTML HTTP. Fetch object, fetch data object, fetch data API is object of JavaScript, that object of that engine, virtual machine. But there is API. It is API of browser to permit engine, or concretely our programs, use that object XML HTTP, or use own object fetch API, as use own object date. There is no content. Also fetch API. There is no content coming from outside of browser. All outside of browser for engine, it means our programs on engine, it can be accessed only through browser. It's all about our theme, topic in this video. Now something around that. I like and I always spoke and always will spoke about artificial intelligence, concretely Chat GPT. Every day, hours by hours, I spoke with artificial intelligence, and that helped me a lot. But how you can use artificial intelligence if you are beginners? You can use like that you ask every word. You can ask about every word what you listen here. For example, you can ask about virtual machine, and we can start what is virtual machine, why we need virtual machine. And when you have a response from artificial intelligence, what is virtual machine, we have text. And inside text, some word or more word you don't understand. And you ask that, what is it? What is it? I ask, what means sandbox? Because I here listen that he said sandbox, and okay, can go here. Not speak about Node.js. Node.js is directly on OS and have not intermediate layer. We talk only of the JavaScript in browser. Thus, it is my question, does JavaScript virtual machine from inside browser directly access to anything outside of browser? Yes or no? No. The JavaScript, this my yes or no, I not good said, because yes means you are correct, but no means you are not correct. And never again I will not ask like this, yes or no, because he said no. It means that I'm not correct, but artificial, when I read longer, I see that means no. It means no contact. There is does use from inside browser directly access to anything outside. Yeah. Oh, pardon. It is explicitly does. Sometimes I spoke imperative. I said JavaScript virtual machine inside browser directly, never access to anything outside. Here I make question, yes or no, it's okay, and said no. Does JavaScript virtual machine from inside browser directly access outside of browser? No. Here it is, no. And explanation you can read, you don't need read, but if you are beginner you need read, and for me it is very interesting read. The JavaScript virtual machine inside web browser does not directly access anything outside of the browser environment. It is some very, very interesting thing that artificial intelligence, the chat GPT, respond me with my words. Always use my words. And if I think I didn't native, and I always think that I can be not understandable to artificial, they always respond me with my words. It's excellent. I think that I like it. It is very, very good, because it is a question of focus, that artificial intelligence is very, very focused on our discussion. No, the JavaScript inside web browser, look at inside web browser, here it is. I ask, does CSVM from inside browser directly access? And here is a response, the JavaScript virtual machine inside the browser does not directly access anything outside of the browser environment. It cannot be in a native like this. And artificial speak in same level with native and with me no native. And it means me that artificial never spoke generally, always spoke directly. And it is not secure job and business owners of artificial intelligence. They invest big money, but they produce excellent tools for us, because if it is not good for me, it would not be good for you and other people, and that business broken. But artificial intelligence chat GPT is excellent for me. I spoke with him by hours and hours, and it is as I spoke with colleague or other teacher, and but it is not possible find a person and teacher and who work in same question as you work. But now I think that if I have a company for talking about the most detailed most possible detail in programming and in web development. I have an excellent company in artificial for conversation in artificial intelligence. I like deep learning, and artificial is really deep learning, and that kind of communication is very important, very focused. Okay, no, the JavaScript virtual machine inside the web browser does not directly access anything outside of the browser environment. It is very good explanation. The JavaScript engine is sandboxed with the browser, within the browser, and sandbox is very often used in programming, but I ask, I never look at in meaning, I have my idea what it means, but I ask, what means sandbox? In the context of software, sandbox is controlled environment that isolates an application or process from the rest of the system. The purpose of sandbox is to limit the application's access to resources and data outside of the sandbox and to prevent it from interfering with other application or process on the system. And here it is, limited access. Yeah? Limited access. The JavaScript engine is sandboxed. Sandboxed means closed within the browser, meaning that it has limited access to the user's device and cannot interact directly with the underlying operating system. The only way for JavaScript running within browser to interact with anything outside of the browser environment is through browser API that provide access to specific features or services on the user device or network. These API are designed to provide a safe and controlled way to web application, etc., etc. In every video, I hope like that, talk about artificial intelligence and use it. Thank you for watching this video.